All right. So, hello, everyone. I am so excited to be speaking with our first Black-owned law firm founder, Luwick Francois, for our June featured entrepreneur. Hi, Luwick.
Hey Beth, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing marvelous, thank you.
Yes, I am so excited for you. I am so excited to be doing this chat with you. And yeah, let's just get right into it. I want to introduce you a little bit so people will know the general background about you, and then you'll give us all the following juicy details. So, Luwick Francois Esquire, he is the owner and managing partner at LF Law PLLC, and he specializes in employment law. And we'll get into what that means in a bit, as well as estate planning. Yes, all great things. So, Luwick, tell the world a little bit about yourself and your firm.
Well, before I begin, just a little disclaimer, any information that's conveyed in this evening's conversation is not legal advice, it's just for informational purposes. LF Law is a brand new firm in Brooklyn, New York, but we represent clients throughout the five boroughs and in Long Island and Westchester as well. Predominantly employment law, discrimination, plaintiffs centric, but we also assist businesses, small business owners and medium-sized business owners to put in their employee manuals if they don't have them in place, anti-discrimination policies and procedures, workplace investigations, peer-to-peer employee mediations, but no litigation. Litigation is strictly for plaintiffs only. And we also do some estate planning, wills, and trust as well.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. I wonder how many people have thought to put into their contracts, small businesses put into place anti-discrimination policies and all of that. That must be something that's really lacking?
Well, it definitely is for small business owners. Generally, from my experience, prior to starting LF Law PLLC, I was with the State Division of Human Rights, the anti-discrimination agency. And one thing that I noticed during my time there, that you have a lot of small businesses that the owners are just so busy trying to stay afloat, get the business running, trying to live their dream and get, put the dream and put it into existence. Um, and unfortunately, they don't have time to hire in-house counsel because there's not a lot of money to spread around. And they don't hire a lawyer to put in these procedures in place prior to actually hiring employees. And then what happens is then you get employees and you don't give them the proper training. Usually things could happen and then the anti-discrimination agency gets involved or you get a lawsuit. And then what you were supposed to, the money that you were earning through your business that you were supposed to reinvest in your business and help it scale and grow. Now you have to hire an attorney to defend yourself from a lawsuit, whether regardless if there's any merits to it or not, is going to distract you from your purpose and cost you a lot of money. So with the firm, again, we don't handle discrimination cases as far as litigation for businesses, but I assume that putting a prophylactic measure in place and helping the small business owners, it could help prevent them from actually getting into trouble. But for those that are employees, that's what we do as well, to help vindicate their rights and get them the needed justice that they deserve.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like that is a really important thing. A lot of times, business owners, we do like to save money. We like to
Correct.
save a little money, but cutting corners actually can become more expensive. And I know you're not a trademark lawyer. That's a totally different field of expertise, but that's what I tried to do. I tried to do my own trademark once upon a time, and it bit me in the butt. And I spent twice as much hiring
Yeah,
a lawyer because I had to redo everything.
correct,
So, moral of the story, if you are a small business owner, anything legal, take care of it.
correct. Always
Yep.
get legal counsel. And I would say that the same is extended to estate planning as well. You have a lot of
Mhm.
websites where you could go and, click a few buttons, enter a few pieces of information, and it pops out a will and you think you're straight. But then there's a lot of contingencies that you fail to get the understanding for because you didn't sit down with legal counsel to have that in-depth conversation because every case is different.
Yeah.
And you really have to have that conversation as far as what you are seeking to get out of the document that you are purchasing.
Yeah. Because it's so funny when someone passes, all sorts of emotions come out, and people, the person who passes, think like, oh, my children will be fine, or what, and no, they are not. And things come out
Yeah.
and it can get nasty and ugly. And so, if you want things a certain way, you want it to be, even if it's contested, not able to be
And,
successful in
yeah,
that.
and that's why you want to put pen to paper as far as what your wishes. And with the planning, is basically trying to preserve the client's wishes, what they want to seek when they are no longer there. And that's usually to have their most trusted and beloved assets passed on to generally their kids or spouse, or it could be a charitable organization if they don't have any children or a spouse. But when you don't have those documents in place, don't have the proper planning, it could lead to a whole sort of mess. If there's property in place and you're trying to pass it on to your kid, there could be some issues with the bank, especially
Mm-hmm.
if there is, needed repairs that need to be made on the property, and then you have to go into probate, which is the process in surrogate's court to basically administer the will, and it could get complicated. And there's different other mechanisms with that as well, because then you can also put that property into a trust and kind of actually streamline the process and even avoid having to go to court in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, those are things that the reason why you need to have the conversation with legal counsel to know what your wishes are, what's your goals, and how to best protect them.
Yeah. And I feel like, well, June, which is where you're going to be featured, right? This June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And sometimes men, but women as well, they don't want to have to talk about their death, right? It's like, oh, this is disturbing. I don't want to have to think about it. But yet, in the back of your mind, you've got all of this stuff going on of like, well, what's going to happen? And I have this legacy that I'm so carefully building. And then there's trust and there's this. And like the things that you just shared, I was like, huh, yeah, hadn't thought about the bank. And and so you're actually, even though it's like a little bit of a struggle, to maybe think about your mortality, it's a real thing. And it actually can bring about peace of mind. And it's like one less thing on our mental health to just
Sure.
like release and have peace on.
Agreed. And I'm my family is from the Caribbean, it's Haitian American.
Okay.
One thing I know about my culture, along with others that's also from the island, the older generation tend to shy away from having that conversation.
Mhm.
Talking about estate planning because it's like why are you bringing death into this conversation? Which is understandable. I get that mentality, but at the same token, it could lead to a whole lot of problems. One of the issues too, as well, with the older generation, and I'm noticing that with my parents and my peers, and speaking to them about their folks as well, is what happens when they need long-term care and when
Ah,
proper estate planning, that could be an issue as well. And it could also, if you don't do those plannings, proper planning, your family can end up spending a lot of money,
yeah.
getting you some of that long-term care if you don't have proper insurance in the first place. which is why proper estate planning could help you navigate and protect some of those assets as well.
Yes, there are ways you can set things up. So if you are in like a home health care where someone's coming in to take care of you, or you're going into a home, yeah, that keeps portions of your assets because otherwise they'll take it all that time. And you think like I spent 65 years of my life and I'm gonna, yeah, and it's all down the drain. So
Exactly.
I love the work you're doing. Yes, thank you. Um, I'm thinking too, like from my own experience, my grandmother, my mom's mom, she had everything laid out. Like she had a living will, she had it down. So even though I and other members of the family didn't always have the same opinions on certain things, like do not resuscitate, and all of that. There was no way we could argue. Like there were no fights. It was impossible to get mad at someone because she'd already put it all out. So she really kept the peace, and she kept the mental health of all of us. Like, yeah,
And your grandmother did a really good job, but she thought of head and thought
yeah.
about the rest of the family because what happens is sometimes when we get older, we are not in the same physical and mental condition that we were when we were younger. And at a certain point, especially when that mental health deteriorates, we can no longer do the proper planning. And now you may need a guardian to take over and that's a long, difficult process.
Yeah.
So you could save your family the headache. You could save them the money and expenses by doing the proper estate planning beforehand.
Yep. Yes. So I'm so curious. You didn't, maybe this is like a part of it. You mentioned like your heritage and like other West Indian heritages. But where do you get your inspiration from? Like what made you wake up and say, I am going to start my own law firm and it is going to support people, both with employment and, estate planning. Why? What inspired it?
It's a great question. I don't know if I have a answer for that one.
Okay.
But I would say a culmination of things. I would say from the God that breathes air into me every day, to my mother,
Mhm.
to the hip hop culture that I was raised in, that also spurs that entrepreneurial aspect into it to the my colleagues in the bar who inspire me as well. And people like yourself who are business owners and who's been on a grind, and it's a culmination of a lot of things and a lot of people.
You know what stood out to me in that? You gave hip hop culture a credit for starting your business. And I think it gets a lot of frowns and like a lot of thumbs down. But yeah, it does have that entrepreneurial spirit in it. And it is very inspiring in so many ways to people.
Correct.
Yeah. So let's talk about this because you had a full-time job. You had your 9 to 5, and there is nothing, just as a disclosure, there is nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. I'm not bashing that, right? So I don't want anyone to feel shame, like I'm still working my 9 to 5. But a lot of people want to be like, peace out to the 9 to 5, and they want to become full-time in their business. So how did you do it? Like, what are some key steps that you took that you would recommend to others who want to transition out and become full-time entrepreneurs?
That's a difficult question. And difficult because the reality is that unless you have a good support system,
Mm.
or yeah, unless you have a good support system to help you with your healthcare, to help pay your rent, allow you with a place to live and eat, it's going to be difficult trying to do it on your own. And if you are trying to just say, hey, I had enough of this place and jump out, that's like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. So you really have to do your due diligence, talk to other small business owners as far as the steps that they took to launch their business. You also should have a business plan well thought out. And you may have to seek finance from a bank or a small business organization if you want to go that route, or you may have to stay in that 9 to 5 job that you hate so much. But, instead of going on vacations, or going away on those lavish vacations, I still say actually take vacations
You have
because
to have a break.
the mental health aspect is very, very important. And you don't want to completely burn yourself out trying to reach a goal because you may not even reach that goal because you burnt yourself out too much.
Right.
So you may just have to reassess some of the decisions you make to save some money. So by the time you do go full time, you at least have some reserves to basically help you stay afloat for the first 6 months to a year. And or what you do is you find yourself a part-time job and you quit the job that you hate so much and at least just find something that you could just do that could supplement the income while you get on your grind and begin that hustle.
Yeah. I mean, a part-time job is very useful. It's definitely a good strategy. Or if you need really that full-time consistent income, depending on, like what your situation is, quit the job and get a better 9 to 5 job that you don't loathe so much.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that goes to the proper planning and doing the proper due diligence to
Yeah.
know what you need to make it a smoother off ramp by the time you have to launch that business.
Yeah, we really do need support systems. And I feel like if you are an entrepreneur and you do not have a support system, that's actually a problem. You need to get out there and network. And it may not be your family. Sometimes we think it's supposed to be our family. It may not be. You need to get out there and network and connect, like you were saying, even like ask other small business owners like what they did, but you need to build new connections.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's so much information out there, and information that was so readily available and accessible that you just really got to just do the work to get it. But it's just all available for you to do the proper planning.
was there like one thing that you did in particular that helped you?
Um, Not really. I would say the best thing that I did, one of the real big inspirations that I had, since I'm a member of a bar association, the
Mhm.
Metropolitan Black Bar Association, I'm gonna give them a shout out. I serve on the board of that organization, and we celebrated our 40th anniversary. Another plug I have to give them.
Congratulations.
Current president, is a small business owner. A couple of people on that board, also small business owners, and they're actually inspirations to me. And sitting down with them, hearing their stories, how they planned out their success, and seeing how successful they are, I
Yeah.
know that it's achievable and doable, but you
Yeah.
have to have those real conversations with people
Yeah.
to get the nuts and bolts and the gritty information that you probably will gloss over if you're just trying to do networking, which I kind of don't like using that word networking. I like to call it relationship building.
Woo, yes.
And when you are vested in knowing about the other small business owner and their history, their story, not only are you getting the information to basically help streamline your planning, but you also get the strategies and also a mentor or to help you with those questions that you probably did not know you had,
Yeah.
and the ones that you do have, they could probably give you an answer, and it can make it a little bit much more easier for your transition.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's so hard when we don't have anyone to talk to who went before us. And I started the Black Business Connector in 2017, and I have had a really hard time finding a lawyer who owns their own business.
Really?
And like next to impossible. It's been hard. And the same thing for doctors, although I do know I actually maybe I'll bring see if she'll do an interview in the near future with me. But yeah, because I did finally find some doctors. But yeah, it's a little tricky. And I think more people tend to work for a firm than start their firm. There's a lot of moving parts. So um well, how you're a new business owner, right? And so your day is not as structured as it was when it was 9 to 5.
Definitely.
And so how's that going for you? Like, are there some, I think people, talk about the time management and like people talk about working in your business versus working on your business and different things like that. So how's it been going for you?
It's been going. It's really rough, that part, because some days are just like you stated, there's no structure on certain days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's a work in progress. But one thing that I've realized is that it is exciting as much as it is stressful. Stressful trying to, keep up with all the meetings, and, relationship building, and also doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't realize it's a full-time job getting your work, your clients. Like you're literally job searching every day. I had someone ask me at a career day, like, what's a day like for you? I'm like, most of the time, most of my days are looking for work. But
Exactly.
then, but also, that's not even also true. Sometimes a lot of my days are also like people have come to me, but there's still the meeting because even though they've come to me or they've come to you, right? You still have the meeting to like find out if this person is a good fit and how you really can possibly serve them. So there's still like meetings on top of that.
Yep.
Like, you know, so yeah, entrepreneurship is a life of meetings.
It definitely does.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm curious, do you feel like just observing things in general? And because even though you're a new business owner, you're not new to knowing entrepreneurs or seeing other people run their businesses. What, in your opinion, is the secret sauce that many entrepreneurs are missing?
Hmm. Great question. I don't think I can answer that one yet.
It's
Maybe
fine.
maybe 2 years from now, you can pose the same question and I'll give you an answer. Um, if I were to guesstimate what that answer would be, is probably persistence and heart.
Persistence and heart. Yeah. Well, even in your experience as being a customer, is there anything you've noticed missing in like customer service from small businesses that you yourself have worked with?
Hmm. Excellent question, but I would say the being realistic with the expectations of the customer and
Ah,
what to expect and what the possible outcomes are. Because I think sometimes some customers may have one expectation and then they're a little disappointed when the outcome isn't what they expected. So I
mm,
think what I like to hear from the service provider is what realistically are the outcomes. So I don't get so emotionally vested in an outcome that may not be obtainable.
you know, that is a really good point. Expectations, we have an expectation as a client that a service or a product is going to be a certain way. But as the owner, the business owner, we also expect that product or service to make the client happy for whatever reason, and it might not.
The
Yeah.
dance.
The dance, that expectation, yeah, like kind of release those expectations, and it does help you then as a business owner to like be more curious and be like, well, how did that really work for you? Like really seek that feedback, like how can I really improve, instead of just like pretending it's like the best thing since sliced bread what we're introducing to the world. Like really get the feedback.
Sure.
Yeah.
And as a service provider, you should always do the best that you can to um, achieve the outcome that the client wants, but you should also be realistic with the client to let them know what the outcomes could be. And sometimes it depends on one thing, and sometimes it doesn't. Um, it depends on the person's business, but I think they should always have that conversation, and the business owner should be very realistic with the client that they're serving.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we like to promise like the sky and beyond, So we create like this expectation and we know that it's not. And then we wonder why we have imposter syndrome. We can be our own worst enemy. Like, be transparent. Like, this is still a work in progress. I'm still developing this. Like,
Sure.
it might be a little bit of a bumpy ride. Like, and then people do appreciate that, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So, Luwick, I'm curious, even though you're new to the business world as a full-time entrepreneur, I am curious what the next level of success looks like. Like, what's your big goals?
Of course, to scale the business, to have more employees in the firm, other attorneys, and to grow it. That's the goal.
Woo! Yes, I'm gonna see you on a billboard one of these days, and there's gonna be 10 of you like this. Employment problems? Call LF Law, PLLC. 1-800. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I really can't wait to see where this goes for you. I would love to have you share with everyone how they can reach out to you because even if someone is not a small business owner, we all have our time when it's time up. And so, you know, that estate planning is also very important. So how can people reach you?
You can reach me on my website, www.lflawpllc.com. And you can also catch me on LinkedIn, same LF Law PLLC. Uh, should be a little bit better with the socials, but definitely got the website and all the contact information is available on the website.
Cool. I love it. So I will definitely be sharing that out as well when I post this because this will be going on YouTube and it'll be going out to the email list and everything. So I will absolutely be sharing that for you so people can just click the link and reach out to you.
Excellent.
Yes. So before we wrap up, are there any last thoughts or words of inspiration or encouragement or anything you'd like to share?
If you have a dream and you plan out, you can make that dream happen.
Yeah, anything's possible. Literally, anything's possible.
Exactly.
Limitless. All right, I love it. So thank you so much again, Luwick, for your time this evening. And I'm so excited to feature you for June. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, Beth.
Have a good one.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.